Yes, we are back. It's Ritchie and Rob, brought to you by betPARX. I'm Rob Ellis, along with my guy, Jon Ritchie. Jon, I'd ask you how you're doing, but I think you're doing the same way everybody is in the Delaware Valley. Coming
Dragon.
off, two losses where you're smarting, man. We're all feeling it. Let's start with the Cowboys here, Jon, because we did the post-mortem for the 49ers, and this was a game that you felt pretty confident in, and the Eagles just flat out didn't show up for the second straight week. How do you view what went down?
Well, I was pretty certain we could reestablish our physicality by just running the football against the Dallas Cowboys, and I expected that we would put Micah Parsons in an impossible situation, making him wrong, optioning off of him. I thought that we would dive into our zone read offense and that Jalen would be using his legs more than what he did. In the first half, when it was over, DeAndre Swift had 4 carries to his name, and I was troubled. I was worried that we were not going to lean into the run the way I had expected. We're just putting too much pressure on Jalen. We're putting too much on his shoulders by hoisting the entire passing game upon him and not leaning more into the run so we can play action a little bit more, so we can use his legs a little bit more. I think it's time to stop protecting everybody, because we got to start winning games down this stretch here, Bert. If we want to get where we want to go, the 1 or the 2 seed, we got to win every game. And so now is not the time to get conservative health-wise or play call-wise. Let's just get after this thing. It starts in Seattle, which is really a tough place to go win.
2008, last time they won there, Jon, for sure. And they are leaking some oil, and we'll talk about Seattle at some point, but that's for sure. Let me ask you, though, I thought the Niners loss would be a wake-up call to maybe do things a little bit differently. Apparently not. I mean, do you think the extreme of these last 2 games against probably the teams that you're going to be right there with in the NFC, do you think this will cause change here? Will they do things a little bit differently in terms of a game plan?
I hope so, Bert. Mm-hmm. It's got to. I mean, you can't keep banging your head against a wall if you're not effective. And it's really tough to differentiate right now how much was Eagles poor play and how much was Cowboys rested 10 days, 49ers rested 10 days. How much was, that Cowboys game, that was their 3rd home game in a row. They had been home since November 20th. Mm-hmm. That really does make a difference. And I was trying to downplay how the difficulty of our schedule, that we would be able to just put our heads down and just mash forward.
Right.
It's been more demanding than I expected, and it's taken more out of this team than I expected. And so I don't really know how much of that, how much of our poor performance is truly the Eagles are behind. How much are the Eagles lagging behind these other good teams in the NFC? And how much are the Eagles just more exhausted than the other good teams in the NFC? That does beg the question. Mm-hmm. I am worried that we're not as good as I thought we were, though. And that makes me wonder if we can ever achieve the ultimate goal. Like I was expecting to be an NFC championship bound host in the postseason type of team. And right now we haven't been playing that way.
No, I think the last 2 weeks call into question all of those things. And I'm with you, Jon. Like I thought, I did not think it would look like this. I don't think it would look as dramatic as this. I want to hit you with 2 other things before we go. One, the slow start. It's been 6 straight weeks they've trailed the half, Jon, and they're getting not just beaten down, like slaughtered in the first half. Is that not a direct reflection of the preparation, of the coaching, of the scheme, of everything? I mean, this is a major indictment. This team's not ready to go to start games.
You're right, Bert. And when you play the better teams, you got to elevate your own level of play. And we haven't. Yes, we've been poorly prepared for the biggest games of our season, and you got to place that in the coaching staff's laps. We're not doing enough on either side of the football. Our coordinators, the play calling was was questionable against the Dallas Cowboys. We talked a lot about how we didn't run the ball enough, but just the simplicity of the offense, the lack of motion, the lack of creativity, that is an ongoing saga. And it has caught up to us because our offense is no longer looking effective. So it was okay. I was fine with the lack of uniqueness when it worked and when we were rushing for 200 yards a game for the first 5 weeks of the season. But now we're in a position where we're going to have to change because the rest of the NFL feels like they continue to evolve where we've sort of been stuck, mired in the same spot, and they've passed us by.
I'm a firm believer corrections can be made offensively, but Jon, I got to tell you, I have real concerns with the defense, especially the back seven. I think they can probably be better getting into the quarterback for sure, but I worry about the back seven, the linebacking play, the secondary play, and we really saw it exposed the last couple of weeks. Is that just an area where you got to kind of hope the offense picks it up and goes crazy because it's not going to get a whole lot better?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to have to outscore teams, and we saw the Kansas City Chiefs win a Super Bowl doing that last year. Their defense did pick it up, and they would blitz in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
But they weren't leaning into their defense, holding teams to, single digits every game. They knew they were going to have to score. And I feel that this Eagles team is sort of stuck in the same boat.
Yep. All right. Catch Jon and I later in the week as we preview the Seahawks. Jon, Ritchie, always good to see you, my friend. We are Ritchie and Rob from the great folks at betPARX.